So mainstream media is seriously pushing Mayor Pete Buttigieg and trying to make him a thing. And listen, what I'm about to show you, this to me is just irrefutable proof that the media has their favorites and they will push them relentlessly, and the media has the ones they hate and they will smear them relentlessly. Now, we already know who they're smearing. Okay, it's clear. On a lower level, because he barely gets any press attention at all, but on a lower level, it's Andrew Yang, because Andrew Yang, he went on Joe Rogan's show, and then he picked up some right-wing followers, and then on some, former Trump Reddits or something, people have flipped to Andrew Yang because they think Trump didn't deliver. They're right that Trump didn't deliver, by the way, but they like the UBI and stuff, and so now he's accused of being like a white nationalist, even though he's a nerdy Asian dude. Pretty funny if you think about it, but it's a smear that they're seriously running with. Okay. Tulsi Gabbard is another one who's smeared relentlessly, and she smeared relentlessly very simply because she appears to be the most dedicated and the most devoted to ending regime change wars. And, the Pentagon's in favor of those regime change wars, the CIA's in favor of those regime change wars, the government, the executive branch is in favor of those regime change wars, the media's in favor of them. So they just smear her relentlessly. It's nonstop. They accuse her of loving all these dictators around the world, even though 73% of the dictatorships around the world are backed by the United States. Our government officially backs 73%. That doesn't make... They never talk about that in the context of Saudi Arabia. Oh my God, we gave them a $100 billion weapons deal? Why are we propping up a dictator? They never say that. But Tulsi meets with Assad to try to get, some sort of peace and to stop the rush towards war. Suddenly, oh my God, she's in favor of atrocities and genocide and she's a dictator lover. Even though, no, she was doing diplomacy. You want to talk to the people who are your enemies so we don't escalate and end up going to war. But no, they act like, oh my God, she loves dictators and she loves genocide and she is a terrible person. Nonsense. It's all smears. Now, in the case of Bernie, he's, public enemy number one to the mainstream media. They cannot stop going after him in the hackiest of hacky ways. We've seen a million articles on this, trying to, is he a sexual assaulter? Oh my God. He spoke to kids in the 1980s about not doing drugs, but some of the kids were really young. Ugh, as if that's like a bad thing. Jesus Christ, it's so stupid. Well, here is the insufferable angle of when they try to push candidates on you. Look. First Family, Time Magazine. It says, First Family, the unlikely and unprecedented campaign of Mayor Pete Buttigieg. And notice, it's him and his husband there. Now, why? Why is it that they're giving him this positive coverage? Now, I haven't made my case yet. Let me show you the next magazine cover. How about Pete? Perhaps all the Democrats need to win the presidency is a Rust Belt millennial who's gay and speaks Norwegian and has never governed anything but the fourth largest city in Indiana. Yeah. He's gay and he speaks multiple languages. Yes. Look at his eyes. They try to make him look like as good as they possibly could with look, he's a bright-eyed youngster who wants to fight for the future of the country. Yes. He said it to Vice. Policy. That's got to take a backseat to value. What? Policy takes a backseat to values. But we've been hearing our entire lives from the Democrats. I'm for good things and against bad things. I'm for good people and against bad people. Yes. And we're all supposed to go, oh, he wants good stuff to happen. I'm with him. I, too, enjoy good stuff. They've used the values dodge to deflect from the fact that they're not going to do dick for us on policy. They're not going to be ambitious. They're not going to fight for Medicare for all. They're not going to fight for free college. They're not going to fight for a living wage. They're not going to fight to end the wars. They're not going to fight to legalize marijuana. Because if they did, if they were going to do those things, they put themselves on the record and be, here's what I'm aiming for, and I will stop at nothing to get it. He wants that vagueness there so that when he doesn't do dick, he can still pretend like he won. He can still pretend like he's a hero. Me? I did minor tweaks around the edges, but I'm a transformative president. Why? Because I'm gay and I speak multiple languages. Listen, does token representation matter? It does. And it does because I actually believe that we're all equal. So, in a world that made sense, there would at least be parity with, okay, whatever, 16% of the population roughly is African American. Well, 16% of our presidents then should roughly be African American. Half the population, or a little more, is female. Well, maybe half our presidents should be female because it just shows parity. It shows that there actually is like equal opportunity. Now, equal outcome is not going to be perfect, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah, there should be some female president, some gay president, some straight president. Like, I think everybody is equal, so I will treat everybody equally. I will never rule anybody out because of their fucking gender or their sexual orientation. However, what they're doing here is they're putting it front and center in order to pretend like that in and of itself equals progressive credentials. And it does not. If just the identity was enough, then in an election between Sarah Palin and Bernie Sanders, you would have had to vote for Sarah Palin because, hey, she's a woman. And the identity overrides policy, right? So she's a woman. So vote for her. First woman president over Bernie Sanders, a guy who's actually going to bring us real change. See, the reality is they deflect from the policy by focusing on the identity. And that's why they love Pete Buttigieg. That's why they love him. Because he gives them symbolic victories. In the same way Obama gave them symbolic victories. What do you mean? What do you mean? We have a young black guy who's president. What do you mean? Okay, fine, he didn't get Medicare for all. Okay, fine, he didn't get free college. Okay, fine, he didn't get money out of politics. Okay, fine, he didn't get a living wage. Okay, fine, he expanded our wars. But it's a young black guy. So they can use that as a shield to deflect substantive left criticism. Because then they get to turn around and go, you're criticizing the first black president? But he's the first black president. How you're criticizing him? I guess you agree with the far-right racists who are against him. They're criticizing him. You're criticizing him. What do you want me to say? I mean, he brought change. He's the first black president. That's change by definition. Same thing with Pete Buttigieg. Are you criticizing? He's the first gay president. Are you homophobic? Why are you criticizing him? I don't understand. That's change. He's change. We're bringing about change. It gives them the symbolic victories where they could check the boxes. And I always told you, what did I always tell you? For years now I've been saying this. Corporate America, they are socially liberal. Why? Because they know black people, gay people, women, they all buy products too. They're all part of society too. They don't want to piss off giant swaths of the country. So they're inclusive. And that's good. Don't get me wrong, that's a positive thing. I'd rather have a corporate America that's inclusive than a corporate America that's totally like fucking, white supremacist, anti-woman, misogynist, all that stuff, homophobic. That's a good thing. But that's where it stops. That's it. It's not like they're like, oh, okay, we love everybody equally, and we love paying everybody a living wage and making sure they can raise a family on the income they make. They don't say that part. That part is go fuck yourself. We're going to pay you as little as possible. But for the symbolic change, they're all in on that, which is why you've seen this giant shift in the Democratic Party where they have no problem being as socially liberal as you would want, But when it comes to economic change, when it comes to economic leftism, nowhere to be found. Because they're going to defend the status quo. And that's the media too. They love the token change. They love the being socially liberal, but economically, they're deeply in favor of the status quo. Ask Pete Buttigieg. He gives them the veneer, the facade of change, while offering no substantive change and keeping the status quo going as is. That's why he gets endless positive coverage. Now, having said all that, we'll see how this impacts the race, because we might be at a time now where positive media coverage, not only does it not help you, it hurts you. I'm serious about that. Chris Christie was on the cover of Time magazine. They called him the boss. Marco Rubio was on the cover of Time magazine, and they called him the Republican savior. And the list goes on and on of the candidates who've gotten these glowing covers, and then they tank. Beto O'Rourke, just on Vanity Fair. I'm just born to be in it, man. That doesn't even mean anything. What are you saying? He had this big Vanity Fair thing, big launch, and then shit the bed. Went nowhere. So it's possible that the more the media puffs you up, the worse off you are. It's yet to be seen, but we'll find out, because I'm very curious to see if that dynamic is rock solid. I think it's a little more wishy-washy now. So in other words, sometimes if the media shits on you, it helps you. Sometimes if the media shits on you, it hurts you. Sometimes if the media shits on you or puffs you up, it helps. Sometimes it hurts. I think it depends on more the content of the argument more than anything. But they made their mind up, and we know who they like. They like Biden. They like Buttigieg. They like Kamala. They like Beto. And they're going to spoon-feed you them nonstop, and they will continue to attack Bernie, Tulsi, Yang, and Warren half the time. Warren, they're ambivalent on. They're indifferent. It's like 50-50 on Warren, but that's what's happening now.